Let's go! It's time Avengers assemble. Together we fight as one, so the villains starting to tremble. Let's go! Let's go! It's time Avengers assemble. Together we fight as one, so the villains starting to tremble. Let's go! Let's go! It's time Avengers assemble. Together we fight as one, so the villains starting to tremble. Let's go! Let's go! It's time Avengers assemble. Together we fight as one, so the villains starting to tremble.
Well, thank you for taking the time to click another Ultra Instinct video. And today I will be highlighting by Miss Marvel. There's no denying she's a healer type hero and currently hands down the most efficient one in my opinion. But she also can deal a ton of damage, as you'll see in my clips. She's also actually my least played hero. That's not because she's bad, it's more like her whole playstyle was good enough that I didn't have the urge to optimize her like other heroes. But playing her and getting her to 84 gave me just a better love for her skills, especially with the new Wakanda status effects. And on a side note, it's coming up on Marvel's 1-year anniversary, so Miss Marvel is actually the perfect video since she was my first 150 when the game was released. I had chosen Miss Marvel to be my first 150 because back then we had the cloning lab raid hype and we couldn't have the same heroes on strike team like we do now. So in my mind, she was the best chance I had at getting into a raid group, being that she was the least popular hero and the only healer in the game. So yeah, that's just a little fun fact I wanted to point out. And as always, before we begin, I'll give a shout out to the whole squad for all those OLT fights. And also the randoms, I just always have to show them some love. The members in the clip will be WB Harry 3. He's always coming through with his Hulk. I believe Bloody Reckless was there as well, but got disconnected unfortunately. And also the one and only Almighty Jenkins testing out his Iron Man. Sorry Jenkins, I know you're a Thor main, but this OLT kill had to be the one. You'll understand when you see the clip. They're also content creators, so show them some love. Their links will be in the descriptions below. And with that said, let's get to my gear setup. Alright, where to begin? So this is the first Ultra Instinct video with the new UI. Personally, I'm not a fan. If the old UI did something good, was at least showing the name of gear pieces, but honestly that's just a discussion for another time. When it comes to my Miss Marvel, the stats displayed are damage buff modified. The only static number is my defense at above 1600, and with her overall survivability it's perfectly fine. My heroic is over 6k, so my crit damage hits pretty hard. Not to mention she has a skill increase, skill on her embiggen that increases it by a significant amount. And for the melee and range, as you can see, it's decently high as well, so anything that power level 160 and below don't really last long. Now look at my melee gear. I have a Faultless Spark. It's hands down always my first priority pick in a melee slot. On the second perk, I always mostly aim for a power attack over a combo finisher with her. Like I said, besides the status effect not being positive, the shock does help out with crit for me and the whole team. But if a decent rolled version positive drops, I would switch out for just personal damage boost, honestly. And on my range piece, I have a targeted buff with Sonic. There's not much to say here really. The damage buff boosts my overall damage, and the Sonic effect is just an added bonus for my support type playstyle. If anything, I'd point out you can fully charge your Sonic effect in 2 to 3 hits. So if your teammates are on their A game, you definitely have to hit that battery effect. Alright, when it comes to defense piece, to be honest, I have this piece for the stats. The resistant perks are nice, but if I could, I would replace it with a decent rolled reactive. I just also want to point out evading while embiggen is possible, but it's not for me. Pieces I want for this slot would mostly be a Tachyon Surge. That would be my first priority. And also a Marvelous piece, which would be a good support option. And when it comes to my heroics, honestly I prefer just playing her as a full support hero, and the Marvelous Heroic hands down is her best support piece. But right now I'm using the Storm Ranger. The perks on it are nice, especially if you're going for a more DPS oriented build, but the stat rolls are definitely better than my current Marvelous Legendary that I have, so I do switch it out for boss fights depending on my team comp. When it comes to my ISOs, as you can see with this one, I got good rolls on the stats. Also has a reactive cosmic payload. It's actually not that bad, but I would replace it if I got a better rolled ISO with heavyweight breaker perk, especially if I'm able to get a positive status effect on my melee piece. When it comes to my second ISO, like I stated earlier, her survivability is top tier, so a yellow ISO works perfectly fine. And the icing on the cake is that rolled with a heavy breaker perk, so my power attacks hit pretty hard. I don't really highlight my major that much because it really depends on your playstyle and how you want to play your hero. But as you can see, I actually have the lethal will equipped, but it's displaying the obsidian spirit. And also I just wanted to point out, in the cryo clip you will see me activating it, but it activates a different major. I have only experienced this issue with this hero though, so I would imagine it'll be fixed later on. Well, that's a detailed look at my gear and what I'm looking to get. Unfortunately right now gear farming is still a bit of a chore, but if you make your gear and skill work for you, you'll be fine. Like I say, Ultra Instinct isn't a build, it's more like a playstyle. If you're interested in my skill points, you can see those at the end. The next section just explain how I rank my heroes and how it can basically help you as well if you're interested. And also, if you just need to cycle through these sections of the video, definitely use those timestamps below. And with that said, thanks for sticking around and enjoy the rest of the video. Just a quick explanation on how I and you can rate your hero with 170 enemies in the custom harm room. I personally like cryo enemies because I find them to have the most decent variation, and cryo status is one of the more annoying status effects to deal with. A good way to judge your damage is clearing a tier group under 10 minutes. Anything more is your survivability is there, but you just need more damage, and I apply this rule to all the tier or sizes. So let's start with, we have size 1 or tier 1. I named it Initiate. It's a good size. Basically understands your hero skills and perks. So your size 3 or tier 3, at this point, if you can clear, you're more or less ulti ready. You're basically pushing your stats and skills and perks to the limit. And on size 5 or tier 5, which I named Omega level threat, it's in the name, so you're a big damage dealer and you're just a master of your hero, especially clearing it under 10 minutes. And at the end of this too, I'd like to point out, this is no means for everyone or needed to enjoy the game, but by being able to clear 170 mobs means your build can handle anything below, no questions asked. So it's really a good way to self-improve, and that's really it. And with that said, let's get back to the video.
来るぞ。
He's really from the country. Yeah, man, they got all that stuff, man. It's like a wild life.
Alright, we're here, we're here. Let's do this shit.
Forgot to switch out my gear. Anyway, here's Sonic. Just stay on him, you guys will be recharged.
I know you are. You're amazing. You know you're amazing. That's the best thing about you.
Thank you, sir.
Got a thumbs up.
Beam.
Alright. Keeping that Sonic, I'm gonna go ahead and just knock on my stuff and
Sonic. Okay,
I'll level off of that. Let's get it. Let's get it.
That's it. Boom.
Eat it. That Sonic and Tim Particle can destroy them. You can handle it.
Yeah, and that's a wrap on another Ultra Instinct video. Thanks as always for sticking around until the end. But on my final thoughts on Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, since day one I knew she would have been a great value to any team. I shown you her damage on 160 and 170 enemies, her contribution in an OLT setting by just staying range, and also to point out during that fight I had my Storm Ranger heroic equip, so I wasn't even full support, but was still able to dish out damage and make sure my team stayed alive. I even got a nice compliment from a teammate at the end. And if this video gave you a better insight on this hero, hit that like button. That would be much appreciated. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notification on future content. If you have questions on the video or my build, leave a comment. You can follow me on a few media platforms where I post video clips, build updates, and just insights on games I play. The links are in the descriptions below. So until next time, be safe and take care.
調子に乗るなよ加藤氏が